we all want more, don't we? We all want more in our business, more in our lives, more money, more clients, more freedom to spend with the people we love, and even maybe on ourselves, more vacations, all that kind of more. Well, today, my friends, we sit down with the amazing Denise Frenette, who is an author and a transformational coach herself. And we talk about what more really is and how you can actually have more, but a little bit different more than what you think it might mean. Grab your pad of paper and pen as always, and get ready for the stern truth on more. Hi, I'm Marshall Stern, and I've spent over 35 years leading and growing multiple small businesses. I know firsthand the struggles of entrepreneurship, feeling isolated, lonely, overwhelmed, and feeling like you have to do it all by yourself. I've been through multiple recessions, and I have felt the highs and the lows. I've been there, and I get it. This podcast is here to change that. Every week, I will bring you straight talking advice, real world strategies, and honest conversations about what it takes to succeed in business without the fluff, the gimmicks, or the sugarcoating. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress, then you are in the right place. This is the Stern Truth. All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Stern Truth Business Unfiltered. All right. Denise, my guest. I've been looking forward to this one. How are you?
I am doing fabulous, and thank you for having me on. And I've been looking forward to this as well because I love the name of your podcast, Stern Truth.
Oh, we're going to thank you. And it's fitting because we are going to be, let me just do a little caveat here for our listeners or viewers, whether you're listening on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, or YouTube, or watching on YouTube. Be ready, my friends. Be ready for, we call them golden nuggets and stern truths, and Denise is going to deliver them big time. However, first, let's find out, who is Denise? What do you do
What do I do presently? What
presently?
we're going to get into before. I am a transformational life coach and I am a spiritual synergist. I do this full time, depending on the week, depending if I'm wanting to have a bit more time off. That is one of the perks of being an entrepreneur. Okay, you get to dictate your hours. But I do this full time, and I've been doing coaching for a long time, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I hear that. I feel that. Okay, how'd you get into it? Wait, because you had stuff before.
Yes. And so I owned two wellness clinics, owned it for one of them for, I think, 25 years.
Mhm.
And when I say wellness clinics, I studied in bioenergy nutrition as well. I practiced also as a natural health practitioner. We offered acupuncture, infrared saunas. I myself practiced. We offered a lot of massage therapists. Massage therapy was big, and so on and so forth. So, and products. And so did that for quite some while, quite a time, and had employees and all of that. And I loved it. I loved the details of business. Always have, and I think I always knew from a very young age that I was going to be an entrepreneur. And
Hang on, can you say that word again? I love the way you say that. The French
the
entrepreneur.
entrepreneur, because I have a very hard time saying it in English. It's just French to me. It's the entrepreneur, an
Entrepreneur.
entrepreneur.
My
I
wife is
just
going my wife is going to judge me because she's French. Entrepreneur. I don't know how to say that.
was
Not bad.
close, but yes. And I've always loved business. I loved the concepts behind different businesses, individuals that go into business, their passion, their love for hard work, and so on and so forth. And so, yes, I did. I've owned two wellness clinics. and sold them approximately, I think it's 5 years now, 4.5, 5 years ago, um, or four. Anyway, yeah, because I loved it, all the details, till I didn't. And I knew it was time for me to move past that and to just do me, and not have employees anymore, not have the overhead of running clinics, and so on and so forth.
Mm.
And that's when I got to fully express who I am as a spiritual synergist. Is after I've sold the businesses, then I transitioned. Yeah.
So there's a lot, I'm relating to a lot of this, as you know, because I went through my own transitioning and out of my business, which I sold 2.5, almost 3 years ago. It's like time flies.
Yes.
Well, actually 3 years when it'll be 3 years when this is out, um, to coaching, but which I was doing as well at the same time,
Mhm.
but I had lost passion for my other business, and this was my life calling, as they say. And to a lot of people out there, transformational or transformative life coach and spiritual
Mhm.
this, spiritual that, like it sounds very woo woo. And I'm looking at your, we're going to get into all this stuff because I know it's not. It might be, but it's
Yeah.
powerful. Because I'm looking at your
Thank you.
wall, and I know you also published a book, right?
Oh, that's my
But I'm looking
wall.
at
That's
your,
right.
I'm looking at your wall. He's saying, "I am kind," and then more, more. What's all this about?
So part of the coaching, and it took me years, because we all evolve and we morph and all of that as we
Mm,
learn and as we grow. And as I was doing my coaching, I would find that clients had great results for 6 months, and then they'd always fall back. Not always, but 90% of the time, they'd go back to old patterns, old behaviors, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, darn, why is this happening? And so, with research and with time, it really became crystal clear to me that there were so many commonalities as to why this was happening. And a lot of it was past behaviors in regards to growing up. What we picked up, what we were shown, influences our perceptions, influences what we believe are our limitations, and so on and so forth. And so the more I moved forward in my coaching, the more I actually combined in my coaching, address the acknowledging of who we were growing up, what we were shown, the habits that we've seen, that we've heard, that all of our senses, I find, play a big role in the way we learn, in the way we can change, and so on. And so, what you're seeing on the wall is part of the coaching that I do, is part of the acknowledging, it's part of writing things down, reading them out loud, seeing them, the visual. And it sounds quite simplistic. And I remember at first when I implemented it in my coaching, I'm thinking, this has got to be it. Because I knew that everything we saw, everything we smelt, whether it was great cooking in a kitchen or a rotting garbage can because your father or your mother wasn't around to change it. Everything you heard, like, way to go, Denise, or I can't believe you did this again. What's wrong with you? Or the screaming and arguing in a background. All of these things influence how we experience life, whether we experience it through lens of fear or through lens of freedom. All of
mm,
these things come into play. So through my coaching, I utilize all of our senses so that we can transform, so that we could change the way we perceive. And the more that you're seeing is the book that I wrote, which is More Because It's Time. And it's
mm.
exactly about all of that, about transformation, understanding what forgiveness is, what acknowledgement is, what boundaries are, what passion is, understanding what more can be for you and how it could be liberating.
Okay, so I want to go down that road for a second. but because a lot of our listeners, most of them, I imagine, are business owners, entrepreneurs, everybody wants more. Everybody wants more money. Everybody wants more freedom. Okay. They're not
Yeah,
necessarily thinking about more, deep down, probably more calmness and more simplicity, but they're thinking more, right?
results.
More results,
Mhm.
materialistic more. How do we, you talk about, okay, it's kind of, there's a fine line because you talked at the beginning about hard work.
Yeah.
Use the term hard work. And a
Mhm.
lot of business owners get, so let's talk start truths. Why do we get in, most of us get into business? Why do most people get in to start their own business? What's your feeling on that?
Well, I mean, one of the reasons I went into business because I thought I could do it better than others. I saw a need, I had a passion, and I thought, wait a minute, I can do it better. I want to do it my way. That was
Mhm.
the initial reason, honestly. And I do have an eye for detail. My father and my mother was a businesswoman. I was brought up in that world. And that was it. I think it was just in my blood in that sense. What I loved about the idea of having a business is having the freedom to do what you want to do, express it the way you want to express it, and taking full responsibility for that. Now, there's pros and cons to that because
Mhm.
often, depending how old you are or what kind of a background experience you have in regards to business, you learn as you go. And man, some of that learning can be harsh financially. And when it comes to ego, because I know I've had my ups and downs in business, of course. I started and I was young. I didn't think I
You're
was young
you're
then.
young. What are you talking about? You're still young.
Exactly. But I was younger with less experience and a lot more ego, and which partly was good too, because that's what kept me going. And so I know that a lot of individuals that go into business, starting a small business or a medium-sized business, is often because they're not satisfied with the status quo, typical kind of work, kind of job, the 9 to 5 kind of work, and that's fine. I'm one of them. I just didn't fit into that box. With that said, it takes a lot of grit. I love that word. It takes a lot of grit because it does take perseverance, confidence, because when things don't go your way, if you don't have the confidence, the vision, then it's easy to just fail. It really is. And so for business owners, one of the things that I admire about business owner is that grit, is that ability to see vision, bring it into details, bring it into and more. I talk about money and more, okay?
Mhm.
And and my original thought in writing the book was really more about just the money, but then how to get past certain fears, past limiting beliefs, and having the courage to go past those lines, to color behind beyond the lines, and so on and so forth. Because if depending on the business that you're in, so the business I was in, the wellness industry, the coaching industry, and all of that, we had to go past what we learned because the wellness industry is in constant growth. Mind you, I would believe that all industries should be in constant growth,
Mhm.
which means you have to have what it takes to constantly research, to constantly want to grow. And so, one of the things that I admire about entrepreneurs are the way their brains work in regards to those details, in regards to hopefully clarity when it comes to that. Is everybody cut out for this? No, not even close. Not even close. A lot of people
Yeah.
think they are, but they find out within the first, some say 5 years, within the first 3 years,
Yeah.
they'll find out. And a lot
Yeah.
of businesses go under in the first 3, 4 years. I had
Or,
a little story in regards to that. Not a business going under, okay? But I had an employee, and she'd been with us. This is obviously quite some while ago. She'd been with us for about I don't know, 10 years. And they were paid very well. Okay. I made sure that in our industry, top. Okay. So paid very well, and they were spoiled and the whole bit. And so she decides to go on vacation. Great. I give her a bonus, have fun on vacation, and all of that. And she was a full time. And she comes back with no warning to me. She goes, "Guess what? I'm done. I quit." And she started a business very close to ours, identical business, very close. And I remember thinking, "Oh my God," which means a lot of clients go and we listen, and it hurt. And not only that, but she took two other employees with her. Ouch! Oh, and I was pissed. I was so angry and the whole bit. But what do you want? It's part of business. Did it hurt financially? Yeah, it did. But you recoup, you hire, and you go on. That's the way it goes. Anyway, 2 years later, I'm at Tim Hortons waiting for our coffee, and she comes up behind me and she goes, "Denise." I go, "Hi." I hadn't seen, well, I knew where her business was. It wasn't that far. And so, anyway, and she goes, "I need to say something." And I said, "What's that?" "I am so, so sorry. I had no idea what it took to run a business. I thought I knew better." I thought, she goes, "I don't know how you do it. I want out." Now, she didn't get out. I actually encouraged her not to, because honestly, she was amazing at what she did. She really was. And she is still in business today, and she is doing great, and I'm so happy for her. With that said, she said, I had no idea. And a lot of business owners don't get it till
Yeah.
you're in it, till you understand the pressures of having the bills, the overhead, other employees, their salaries, people depending on you, no calling in sick. Doesn't matter if someone dies. Someone passes away, you take 2 days and you're back. And we did, I had to. And
Yeah.
and business goes. The world doesn't stop. The bills still need to pay, and it's on your shoulders. And so it's not for everybody. And that's the truth.
That
Yeah,
is the stern truth.
that is the stern,
Well,
yes,
but
absolutely.
so yeah, when you were telling me the Tim Hortons story, I thought you were going to say she was serving you the coffee.
Oh,
So that's good. It's a better story. It's a better ending.
oh,
Better ending.
karma. No.
Better ending. That's yeah, better ending. Nothing wrong with serving coffee Tim Hortons, just so you know, okay? That's
Okay.
just so you know, because Tim Hortons is a great company. So here's the thing, like so many people, like we were talking about, like why we get into business, and you use that F
Which
word, right?
one?
Freedom. So they want
Oh, okay. Sorry. That one.
that one,
Okay.
right? They get into business for because you said like the freedom. They want
Yeah.
freedom of time. They're tired of the 9 to 5. Well, trust me, people, if you're tired of the 9 to 5, become an entrepreneur because it ain't
It
nine to
won't be a
five.
9 to 5. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's no 9 to 5. They want the freedom of
Yeah.
time. They want the freedom of money. Well, the problem is, and this is all like what they talk about, Michael Gerber talks about in the E-Myth, look, be careful what you wish for because you're not going to have the freedom of time.
Nope.
You're not going to have the freedom of money at the beginning.
Nope.
You're going to end up working, as Michael Gerber says, you're going to end up working for a psycho boss who gives you zero vacation. Like, and you were
You
saying,
bet.
like, right? So it does take hard work and grit. And a lot of people,
Yeah.
I love how you said, it's not for everyone. It's
No,
not for
not
everyone.
even close. You gotta
Uh,
love it.
you gotta love it. So in order for us to have more, you can hold up the
Mhm.
book if you want, more. Um, how do we as entrepreneurs, how do we achieve the more
Okay.
spiritually and overall? How do we achieve more in
So
our lives?
at one point, with the businesses, when I was in business, I had two family members who passed away within 3 months, and it hit hard, like emotionally. I mean, obviously, and I kept on going to work because you have to. Yeah, you do. And it occurred to me, and that was closer to the end. It occurred to me that to have more, there needs to be an honest look at all aspects of your life. It's never just about business. at all. And I realized then I wasn't showing up like I used to. I mean,
Mm.
I didn't care about the hours. When you love what you do and when you're passionate, do you always love it? Of course not. Absolutely not. When you have to fire people, when you're short-staffed, when you're and all of those things come into play, it's stressful. With that said, when you believe in your product, your business, your service, your vision, yourself, wow, it doesn't matter if you show up on a Sunday. It doesn't matter if you're doing it's to me, it was business, and I loved it to survive, to experience the more. And even when we made more money, okay, it's awesome. With that said, to experience the more, you have to look at all aspects of life. You have to look at your private life, your relationship, how things are going with your kids, what's going on with your own personal growth,
Mm.
all of it. Because if you don't, you're going to miss the boat. I don't care how successful you are financially. It doesn't matter. And I know because I do coaching, and a bulk of my clients are business owners, and they come to me feeling empty, done, finished. And for the most part, it's not because of business. It's not because there's no more need for what they are offering. Often, no, it is their personal lives because they are no longer motivated, because they have no more clarity, and so on and so forth. And so, a heads up to business owners out there, do not neglect your husband, your wife, okay? Take as much time, but let's use the word quality time, more important. And we hear it, but it is
Mm.
so true. The quality time with the kids, understanding where you're at, going inwards and really reflecting where the frustrations, because you will have frustrations, period. Where are they coming from? Is it truly from the business? And if it is, why? Are you not organized enough? Are you not focused enough? Are you not positive enough? Are you not honest enough with your I would say your coworkers, with your team? Are you a leader or are you not? Are you making excuses? All of these things. I've got new clients, I've got new clients coming up, okay? And so we've already had our first chat, and there's three men. They're all owners of a business and they want to franchise, they want to grow. And I think they have a great product and blah, 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 and so on and so forth, okay? Their main problem is not that there's no demand. Nope. Because I'm thinking, why are they coming to see me? They're busy, busy, busy. So the money's coming in, okay? The demand is there. Perfect. What their problem is their ability to communicate properly and to have a vision that is unified.
Within the three of them.
Yes. And I thought, okay, absolutely. Then if you look at all three individually, there is the exact same lack in all of their personal lives, all of it. And so we were talking about the more, we were talking about how do you get to it? Stop chasing it. Start looking at your life as it is and with a lens of honesty, okay? And start seeing it with what you've already got. What you focus on multiplies. So if you see your staff, okay, your team as lazy, been there, lazy, not good enough, what's wrong with them? That will multiply. That energy is contagious. If you see them as human beings and you want more from them because you see their qualities, not because they're lazy, because you see their qualities, you see what they're struggling with, and you want to bring more into their lives because they are going to bring more into yours. What a different approach.
Well, that's leadership, really good leadership.
Exactly. Exactly. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't fully grasp that. They just have a vision and they want to make more money and they want to just blow it up in a good way. That's great, but it takes a lot more than that. It's a
Yeah.
combination of things.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. And
Mm,
it goes back to really, it's also it's the people. You talked about that, alluded to it a little bit. It's the people in the business too, like the employees, the team members, right, of the
yeah,
business. If you're not in touch with your more, if you're
yeah,
not being a leader for your people, for yourself
mhm,
first, you have to
yeah,
lead yourself in order to be able to lead anyone else.
mhm.
And leading isn't just, it doesn't mean like you're at the mountaintop and you're the leader and then you have all
Oh
these people.
gosh,
No,
yeah.
that's the old way. That's what people think
Oh,
leadership. That's not
yeah.
leadership.
That's dictatorship,
That's
isn't it?
dictatorship, which
Yeah,
we
and
see enough of that in the world.
yes,
We're not going
we
there.
definitely won't go there.
We're not going south. I
Yeah.
mean, we're not going there. Um, okay. For our listeners, business owners, entrepreneurs, because there's a difference. Not every business owner is an entrepreneur, and not all entrepreneurs are necessarily business owners.
That's true.
So, but for both groups or
Hmm.
people who are thinking of it, getting into this whole world, what would you say would be, if you could forget that whole, let's hold on before we go. Let's hold on to that one for a second. We're going to put that as to a side.
Yep.
What is one, if you knew, okay, because we're talking, you said about 25 years you had the wellness companies,
Yep.
one of them? Okay. So going back, cue the harp, way back
Yep.
to, if you knew then, when you started out, the younger Denise, right? What you know now, what would you tell your younger self?
Well, I would warn her about the pandemic.
Please call me and
Okay.
tell me and warn me about that too, please. Thank you.
Okay. So honestly, when you started asking the question, the first thing that came to mind was follow my gut instinct from the get-go. And now when I say gut, okay, because we got to be careful with that. Some
Mhm.
people are emotional beings, okay, and don't understand when I refer to a gut instinct, I don't mean um, to make decisions on a fly, okay, is when you see and feel something that is off and it's not going away, it needs to be addressed. Um, and so, and when I think back on my business, I know mine, when I started selling products, I love shopping and I love stuff and I like beautiful stuff. And I started selling products. First, it was vitamins, minerals. That was great. I should have just stuck with that. And I went beyond that. Okay. And my gut was thinking no. My ego was saying yes. Okay. Because I love it. And I know that the numbers weren't there. With certain products, we were just breaking even, and a part of me didn't care. Okay. If I could go back, I would say no. Numbers are extremely important. Put put my ego, what I love, what looks good aside, and go with what numbers say. Where are the numbers? What is needed? Cater to that, and anything else that doesn't fit into that, be smart, eliminate it, and focus on what brings in the money. Period.
Okay, so I'm going to push back on that one a little bit. Maybe
Yeah,
not push back is the wrong term.
yeah, yeah.
I want to go down this road for a second because you brought up something really interesting. And so you talk about gut versus ego.
Mhm.
And if we're looking at the numbers, and this is really just, this is a stern, not a gold nugget, it's just a stern truth. It is hard if when you are passionate about what you do,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe this is the ego. As I'm talking, maybe I'm thinking this is the ego.
Yeah.
Actually, it is. I'm answering my own question. I'm going to say it anyways
Yes,
for the
I know.
listeners.
I
So
know where you're going.
I'm glad you brought
Yeah.
that up. Like, like just like you, I love coaching.
Mhm.
Love it. And I remember early on when I was trying to do both, my sign graphics company and the coaching,
Yeah.
I wasn't doing either really well. Honestly, I wasn't as the leader for both. Okay, the sign company was doing fine. I mean, the pandemic was a kick in the gut for the most part, but it was for many companies, especially yours, your
Mhm.
industry.
That
You look at the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. Fair
very
enough.
true.
But in your gut, I guess it's the separation between heart, desire, and gut.
Mhm.
And maybe the heart desire is where the ego can be
Yeah.
too much because
Mhm.
you really feel, oh, and I say this, oh, just another for my coaching business early on. I'll give it another 3 months. I would tell my wife because my focus was all on that. And I really dropped the ball with being the leader for my sign company early on.
Yeah.
And I would say, I'm just going to give it 6 months. I'm going to give it another 3 months. I'm going to, because I love this. I know I can make a difference and I know I can get there, but I wasn't. And I kept going and I kept dropping the ball over here. So is that, and I know a lot of people out there are thinking their business might be struggling financially, but they know in their heart, they can make it work. They really want to make it work. They don't want to go back to corporate. They don't want to do that. Where is it? It's gut, heart, ego. It's all wanting more, but where is it? What do we do? Like it's confusing
Where
for
do you
people.
draw the line, or where do you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I always go back, and I know this isn't you would love to have the beautiful talk about just you follow your gut, and with hard work everything works out. That is not the way it works out sometimes. No. Always do the research in regards to the market. And what I mean by that is your service, is what you're offering in need? Are you good enough? Is the product good enough? If it isn't, does the price reflect its value?
Hmm.
Okay, because you could be selling something not as good a value, and it's okay as long as the price reflects it, and people that have less money will buy it. And you can make tons of money like that as long as the price reflects the service, and so on and so forth. So what I'm saying is do your homework. To any business owner, do your homework and then zone in on what your niche is. So this new business, or actually this other business that I have, she owns two businesses, very different, very different. Now, the one that she doesn't like that much anymore brings in the money. The one that she really likes brings zero. Okay. Because she's not that good at it. She doesn't have
Hmm.
enough experience. She hasn't taken enough programs, but man, her passion is there. And she wants to let this business go. And you would think going to see a spiritual synergist who just wrote a book about more, I would encourage her to go towards her life's passion. No, no, I'm not saying you can't have that. You just have to do it wisely. And if you don't care that much about that, then maybe hire someone who can partly run it. Okay. Yeah, you'll make less money for now while you work on this.
Yeah.
There's always transitions involved and so on, but you got to use your brains. You've got to know your niche. Right now, she's splitting herself in two. It reminds me of your story, okay, where she's not giving her true self 100% to what she's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
She's scattered,
Yeah.
scattered, and
Yeah.
it won't work. Eventually, she'll either burn out, and that's not a representation of whether the business is good. No,
Right.
it's a representation of whether she is showing up the way she's supposed to be showing up, and she's not. So
Yeah.
that reflects when we were talking earlier about leadership, when she shows up to that one place, to her one business that is making money, it's making money. Okay. She shows up, she's often herself running behind. She gets impatient with her employees, blah, 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 because she's not liking it anymore. She finds it too hard. Okay. But
Mm.
it isn't. It's not that it's too hard. She lost the passion for it. Now, can she get the passion back for it? Oh, absolutely. She can absolutely get the passion back for it. Now, if every other aspect of your life is lacking and you're expecting your business to bring in fulfillment to cover all of that, it's not going to happen. You are going to burn out. Same for the other way around. Even if everything's going great here, but there is not a good enough business plan, strategy, you're not organized, you haven't done the numbers. I don't care how great everything else is, it's not going to make that work either. It is a combination of both. A real leader understands that. A real leader shows up at work with tools that they can share that will benefit everyone around them. A real leader will know the numbers,
Hmm.
will come to terms with those numbers, will do the research, and then will think outside the box, will be creative enough. And if they aren't, they'll be smart enough to go and ask. to get the coaching, to go and
Yeah.
ask, to go outside and get the guidance needed. And so it takes a lot to be able to grasp all that so that you can keep moving forward in a way that brings in more income, more results, more fulfillment, and so on. Living in
Well,
the essence of more, I talk about it. Living in the essence of more is not easy. It takes brutal honesty.
yeah.
It really, and it takes work.
I no, I love that. And we talk about grit and we talk about hard work and all of that. So what I ended up doing, because my signing graphics business I was dropping the ball and the coaching wasn't going great early on. So I told my wife, I said I was going to give so many months, so many. Finally, I had to. She said, like, and she's not the boss of me. She said, I think you have to make a decision. I think you have to stop coaching. And that was like just a knife right through my heart.
Yeah.
So what I did was I said, okay, I'm going to put it on pause because I knew I was good. I knew I could do something special with it and I could
Yes.
build a really good company. And it was needed. So it's not that that was just good. There was the need. We talk about the need. It has to be a need, but you also have
Yeah.
to be good. Need, good
Yes.
and need. People have to want it. And so I put it on pause. It was the hardest decision I ever made.
Yeah.
And I put it on pause for probably 18 months. But did I really? Right? I did, but did I
Yeah, of
really?
course.
So
Yeah,
like
yes.
I stepped into my leadership role back in my sign company. I got it back up to where it needed to be. But I would constantly, if I would be scrolling on Facebook or LinkedIn, or whatever, and see a webinar on something to do with the coaching industry or whatever, I just click register, get the spot. I was
Yeah.
constantly being pulled because there was something definitely lacking.
Yeah.
And eventually I stepped into the leadership role, built my business back up. Everything was great. And then I slowly, more intentionally and more as the leader with a plan, built up my coaching business
Yeah.
and had an exit strategy for my son company.
I love that.
Okay.
The word with the plan.
With the plan.
Yes.
But I love the biggest takeaway and I want to hear as we wrap up, I ask this all the time, but listeners, gang, you out there watching, listening, I want to hear your biggest takeaways. For me right now, yes, it's all about the more, but the big aha moment for me was the ego,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. And it might
Because
not be the right time. Like what you did, you paused it. It might not be the right time because I remember I wanted to write the book 6 years ago.
yeah,
I wanted to do this full time, like way before, and it wasn't the time, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I did because I did not have the knowledge then that I have now.
yeah.
Um, I was not ready.
Well,
And sometimes,
there's a difference, right? So it might be the right time, but you might not be ready.
yeah, yeah,
Or it might be the wrong time. You might be ready, or it might be the wrong time and you're not ready. But that's for
yeah,
you, the individual, to determine
that's right.
with putting ego aside. And that is very difficult for people to
It
do.
is.
And I would have never thought that my ego was getting in the way. I always thought that this is what I'm called for. This is my purpose, my passion. This is like, Oprah. I saw Oprah. I was talking about this with
Oui.
another client. I saw Oprah and she said, we've all been put on this planet. She believes our real job is to find our purpose and to live our purpose, whether you can monetize it or not. She said, if you can monetize your purpose, great.
It has nothing. Yep, exactly. And
So
I think we have multitude of purposes, by the way. Uh,
I agree. I agree.
just,
But
just, yeah,
yeah, but generally, I think my purpose is one thing, but it
yeah,
spreads across all. Like my family, obviously, 100% number one.
yeah.
Like that's just right. Actually, it's funny. Before we go, I remember, and this is going on the spiritual side. When my father passed away, long time, I was like 20 years old, and I remember the executor or the lawyer, which was a good friend of his, um, said to us, sat me and my brother and sister down just after the day of the funeral, and he said, I'll never forget this. This is like how many years ago? 38 years ago, right? I just told my age. Crap, I just gave away my age. 39 years ago. And he said, we are all, same thing like the Oprah thing, we were all put on this world. This is what he believed. He says, I want the three of you to take lessons from your father. And he says, but honestly, I believe we were all put on this world to make it a better place when we leave than when we came in, which is obviously raising the right. And that's that with me. And I think that is part of the reason, now that I think about it, why I ended up, I mean, I was always sort of in that space. I was always the kind of
Yeah.
the nurturer and whatever, but I think that's what really led me to
Wanting to further.
wanting more.
Yeah, exactly. Wanting more. You know, it's funny because I struggled with that, um, wanting more. Um, and I remember the when this came to me, it came to me with a lot of anger. It came to me with a lot of frustration, confusion, why I wasn't getting more. Uh, and I look back and I see all the more that I had around me that I wasn't seeing, that I wasn't experiencing. And it is through the anger, through the frustration, through the confusion that with a lot of grit and with a lot of stumbling that I figured out what more was. And don't get me wrong, I love beautiful things and I love five-star restaurants and I like nice clothing and all of that stuff. And I know for me that I think I put too much value, self-value on that, on the meaning of success and all of that. And if there's anyone who would be listening to this, is to really understand that there's so much more to life than just the business. It does not, whether you're successful, there's a lot of really successful financially individuals in power that personally I would never ever want their lives. I
Mhm.
think that there are a lot of individuals that could be successful in one area and yet really missing the boat on what life is, on what more is. And so, do I love business? Absolutely. Um, I love life that much more. I love people that much more. And if there's anything for any of the listeners out there, business owners, keep doing what you're doing. Don't lose track of what else you could be doing while you're creating, while you're who is it that maybe you could influence in a good way, that you could help in a good
Mhm.
way. Don't lose track of that, because that's important. It really, really, truly is.
Love that. Thank you so much. And this has been amazing. And gang, if you want more from this amazing guest, I'm going to put it all in the show notes. Okay. But how, Denise, how can our listeners get more, including your book and reaching out to you? What's the best way?
I'll say it's through my website, which is my name, denisefrenette.com.
Okay.
Everything is on that. All the information in regards to my coaching, in regards to my book, is on the website. That is the best way to get through to me. It is through denisefrenette.com.
Is that one N, two T's?
Yep, two T's.
Two T's. I'll put it in
Almost
the
like a,
show.
but yes, exactly. So,
Yeah.
and I want to say we had our chat before, obviously, uh, the recording of this podcast. And I just have to say, Marshall, that number one, I absolutely love your energy. I love what it is that you're doing. If no, I wouldn't be here. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity to have a chat, to have this talk with you. It really does mean a lot to me. I love seeing people having an impact and a ripple effect like what it is that you're doing. So kudos to you for having the grit and showing up like you do. And I want to thank you
Thank
for
you.
being you and for being there.
Thank you. A mentor of mine once said, "You need to receive it, be able to receive it." So I receive it, and I thank you.
Mhm.
And back to you, back at you. Same thing. The same thing. So I'm really glad that we had this conversation, and we went more time than we normally do because there is so much more.
Yeah.
I'm milking it. There's so
Yes, I
much
know.
there's so much more pointing at your wall to this conversation and to Denise. So gang,
Yeah.
yeah, get out there, get her book. And it's not about just promoting the book; it's promoting more. And
Yeah, even if they don't get the book, the only thing I is I want them to really at least invite the idea of exploring more and what that actually means to them in their lives. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. You hang tight, everyone. This has been amazing. So 5-star review, wherever you're listening, watching, share it with your people. But if you give it a 5-star review, what you are doing is you're telling the podcast platforms this podcast is relevant and other people need to listen to it, because the more people who say click 5 stars in this episode, the more people will get to, the more, I keep saying more, I'm going to be saying this forever, the more people get to listen to this amazing woman, Denise.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And for the rest of you, also subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. See you again next week on another episode of The Stern Truth, Business Unfiltered. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to The Stern Truth. If you found today's episode helpful, we would love to hear from you. Please like, share, and leave us a review. Also, if you'd like to be a guest in an upcoming episode or join us in one of our Momentum Accountability Group sessions, simply email me to marshall@marshallstern.net. That's marshallstern.net. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep pushing forward and leading with confidence.